recognize you.
Freshman Chang is no more. Chang 2.0 is here, baby. Kobe.
You seem pretty into basketball, so why aren't you out there then?
Hey, Christy, this is for you.
I'd rather be a loser than be just like you.
This is Kiyra Lynn with Hollywood First Look, and I'm really excited because I am talking to the director and star of CHANG CAN DUNK. It is going to be streaming on Disney+. You have a lot of things in common with this character, with your upbringing and your love for basketball. But I would also love to know more about the details and nuances that you brought into your portrayal of him in the film.
I think what I brought most of all is like I think a really clear understanding, or a clear understanding and a clear willingness to like discover who Chang was, right? I think it's like, initially when I read the script, I was like, oh, I understand this guy. I understand his emotionality. I understand his struggle. And then as I continued to start shooting the film, I started discovering more and more about him. And actually, he was a lot different than I am. And I found that really nice because as an actor, like the thing you want to do is to discover something, right? Knowing where you're going and what you're doing is part of the job, but then it also becomes very boring. And Chang, I discovered, Chang became a role model for me in a way. Like he's so resilient, you know? And like he was able to do things that I haven't been able to do in my life. So I think more than what I brought to him is kind of like what this process has done has taught me a lot.
Again, I said Chang wants to dunk, and this film does go so much deeper than that. And, you know, the relationship between mother and son, you know, I understand that, you know, his mom is portrayed or is based off of your own relationship with your mom. Can you talk to me a little bit about that? And, you know, what does your mom think in regards to this character?
Well, she actually hasn't seen it yet. She's going to see it on the 6th at the premiere. So I'm really excited for her to see the film. And, you know, in high school, especially, our relationship wasn't that great. But I'm very happy to say that over time, it's evolved greatly. I think that when I was writing this film, I reflected a lot back on those times. You know, I was struggling in school, and then I would come home and I would fight with her a lot. And looking back on those times and now knowing her story a lot better, that was really important to me, to like grow up and hear her side of the story and what she was going through at that time. Because I think when you're a teenager, you're sort of focused on what you're going through, right? And what I realized is my mom was going through a lot of what I was going through as well in high school. She had to go back to community college because she wanted to be a respiratory therapist and work in a hospital. So she was going to school. You know, her English wasn't that great. She was an immigrant. She was trying to fit in with people that were much younger than her. And she felt the same frustrations that I did.
Hey, Matt! On the night of the last home football game, I bet you I will dunk on that hoop.
What are we putting down?
I have a first edition Charizard Pokemon card. Shadowless. Yeah, worth $3,000.
You use that quote, you know, the every obstacle is an opportunity, and it in a way it carries itself throughout the film. You know, I would love to know from the two of you, you know, if there was, what sort of obstacle, you know, have you encountered and have been able to seize it as an opportunity in your life?
I think relating it back to like the parents aspect, I think when I decided to become an actor, my parents weren't the most supportive. Obviously, not for obviously, but like, you know, for obvious reasons. And I think that has been a big obstacle for me as an artist. And I think earlier on when it was happening, I was like wishing that I wish that I had more supportive people on my side, because being an actor is a hard career in itself. But then when I started to look at it differently, I'm like, oh, like their challenge of me being an actor is actually a test of my own resilience. You know, if I can use this challenge and still continue despite kind of the biggest obstacle in a way, you know, like the support of your parents, then like I will learn so much. And I think after shooting this film, my relationship with my parents has really never been better.
I think when you're a writer-director in Hollywood, especially when I started out fairly recently, I mean, just 5 years ago, I moved to Los Angeles. I really began to take it very seriously. you wonder if your stories are ever going to be greenlit, if you're ever going to find someone who's willing to tell your story. And that is a major obstacle. Every time you sit down and you start typing words, you're like, do I need to change this character so that they're white? Do I need to reframe this story so that it makes more sense to a quote unquote mainstream audience? But when you do that, you lose a part of what makes your voice special. And ultimately, I made a bet. I made a bet that because our stories aren't told, it gave me a tremendous advantage because it makes me more original. You know what I'm saying? It makes my truth more original because you haven't heard it yet.
Let's go.
Why do you want to dunk so bad? Is it really about this bet with Matt?
If I could dunk, it would be proof that I could be more than who I am.